The lights above the dining table glared too bright, reflecting off the glass walls around us. I sat across from Evelyn, my wife, my world, at least she used to be. The city lights shimmered behind her like ghosts watching a funeral. She didn't look at me when she spoke. "Ethan, I think it's time we end this." I blinked. "And what?" "Our marriage." I laughed, soft and nervous. "You're joking." Her hand moved across the table, sliding a white envelope toward me. Inside was a check. Her voice was flat, rehearsed. $1 billion. Leave me. For a moment, everything stopped. The hum of the city, the ticking clock, even my breath. I stared at the envelope. "What the hell is this?" "A settlement," she said. "Compensation for your time, for everything? Compensation?" My throat burned. "I'm not your employee, Evelyn. I'm your husband." She finally met my eyes, cold, detached. "You were." The word hit harder than any slap. "You're serious?" "I am." She picked up her wine glass, calm, unshaken. "I don't want to drag this out." "Take it and go." My hands trembled. "Did I do something wrong? Did I hurt you?" "No." Her voice softened for a moment, almost regretful. "You didn't do anything. I just don't love you anymore." I stood. "You don't get to decide that like canceling a meeting." "Ethan, sit down." "No." My voice cracked. "You owe me an explanation. We built a life together. How do you just end it like this?" She sighed, as if my pain was an inconvenience. "You always wanted more attention, more time, more love. I don't have that to give." "That's not true." "You used to." "People change." I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "Is there someone else?" Her silence said it all. "Who is he?" She didn't flinch. "It doesn't matter. It matters to me." I slammed my hand against the table. The glasses rattled. "You think money fixes betrayal?" She set her glass down carefully. "This isn't betrayal. It's clarity." "Clarity?" I laughed bitterly. "You're buying your way out of guilt. I'm giving you freedom. I never asked for freedom." "I asked for you." She looked away. "You'll thank me one day." I shook my head. "You really think I'll take your blood money and walk away like I never existed?" Her tone hardened. "Don't make this difficult, Ethan. The check clears tomorrow. Pack your things. I don't want your money." "Then burn it." "I don't care." Her indifference cut deeper than anger ever could. I stared at her. The woman I once held while she cried over her dying mother. The woman who used to trace my scars and call them beautiful. "That woman was gone," I whispered. "I thought you loved me." She hesitated. "I did. Once." "Then tell me what changed." "You stopped being exciting, predictable, ordinary." I felt something inside me shatter. "So I'm too normal for your billionaire life?" "Don't twist this. I gave up my career for you." She looked bored. "And I gave you the world." I laughed bitterly. "No, you gave me a golden cage." "Stop dramatizing this, Ethan. You'll land on your feet." I wanted to scream, but my voice came out broken. "You don't even sound human right now." She stood, smoothing her dress. "You'll understand someday." "Understand what?" "That love means nothing to people like you?" Her jaw clenched. "Enough." I won't argue. I stared at her, memorizing every detail. The flawless face, the controlled breathing, the absence of any warmth. I used to think she was untouchable. Now she just looked hollow. "You planned this?" I said quietly. "Didn't you?" "Yes." "For how long?" "Does it matter?" "It does to me." 6 months, she said simply. "Lucas helped arrange the transfer." The name hit me like ice water. "Lucas, your business partner?" She said nothing. I laughed, shaking my head. "Of course." "The man who always called me your charity case. Ethan, don't do this." "Don't what?" "Feel something?" Her voice was low, warning. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." I stepped back, my chest aching. "You're unbelievable. Take the money and start over." "I don't want your billion, Evelyn. I wanted your heart, but I guess that was never for sale." She looked away again, her eyes glistening briefly before she blinked the weakness away. "This conversation is over." I laughed under my breath. Yeah, it was over long before tonight. I grabbed the envelope not because I wanted it, but because it was proof. Proof that I'd once mattered enough to be bought. As I walked toward the door, she said softly, "Ethan." I stopped. Her voice cracked. "You'll be fine." I turned, forcing a smile. "You don't get to decide that anymore." Her lip trembled, barely. "Goodbye." I opened the door. Goodbye, Evelyn. The night air outside was colder than I remembered. I stood there for a moment, the envelope heavy in my hand, my heart heavier. Inside, I heard the sound of a wine glass shattering. Maybe she dropped it. Maybe she didn't. Either way, something between us had already broken long before the glass hit the floor, and for the first time, I realized she wasn't the only one who ended something tonight. She ended me. The scent hit me before she even stepped into the room, strong, expensive cologne that didn't belong to me. I sat on the couch pretending to scroll through my phone, but my heart was pounding. Working late again? I asked. Evelyn placed her purse on the counter. Board meeting ran over. At midnight? She didn't answer. Her heels clicked across the marble floor like small accusations. I stood. You smell different, she froze. What's that supposed to mean? It means I can tell when my wife's wearing someone else's perfume, she sighed. You're being paranoid. Maybe, but paranoia usually starts when trust ends. Her tone turned sharp. You're starting again, Ethan. Starting what? Wanting the truth? She poured herself a drink. You're exhausting. Funny, you used to say I was comforting. People change. The words echoed from the night she gave me that check. I swallowed hard. You used to wait up for me. You used to smile when I came home. She looked at me, eyes cold. You used to have ambition. That one stung. I left my firm because you asked me to. I didn't ask you to stop trying. I didn't stop. You stopped seeing me. She turned away. I have a company to run, Ethan. I can't spend every second babysitting your insecurities. Babysitting? I laughed bitterly. Right. Because love feels like charity now. Don't twist my words. Then explain them. She placed the glass down hard enough to crack the rim. Not everything needs an explanation. I stepped closer. When did we stop being us? She avoided my eyes. I don't know. That's not true. Ethan, please. No. I want to hear you say it. Say you're seeing someone. Her silence stretched long enough to tell me everything I needed to know. Who is he? Her jaw tightened. He's a friend, Lucas Ford, I said quietly. She froze again. You've been spying on me? Observing, I corrected. I saw him drop you off last week. You were smiling, something you haven't done around me in months. You're crossing a line. So are you. She exhaled through her nose, composed and cruel. Lucas understands my world. He doesn't make me feel guilty for having ambition. I stared at her. You mean he feeds your ego? She didn't deny it. My voice dropped. You told me once that money meant nothing to you. She looked straight into my eyes. I lied. For a second, I forgot to breathe. You lied about everything? I loved you, Ethan. I just don't anymore. You don't stop loving someone like that. You do when love becomes weakness. Her words sliced clean through me. I was never your weakness. Then why are you trembling? Because I was watching my marriage die, I thought. I turned away, staring at the wedding photo still hanging on the wall. Her hand on my chest, my smile wide and stupid. You used to say you couldn't live without me. That was before I realized I could. The photo blurred as my eyes stung. You said vows, Evelyn! So did you, she shot back. You promised to grow with me. Instead, you stayed the same. I clenched my fists. I stayed because I believed in us. Because I thought success meant nothing if I lost you, she whispered. Then maybe you aimed too low. That did it. Something inside me snapped. You know what's funny? I thought I married the woman, not the empire. You married both, she said coldly. You just couldn't handle the weight. I laughed without humor. And Lucas can? He's different. He's convenient. Her tone dropped to a whisper. He listens. So did I. Not enough. I stepped closer, my voice trembling. If you think he'll love you more than I did, you're wrong. She turned her face away. Love isn't enough. Then I pity you. Don't. I studied her, the flawless mask cracking just slightly around her eyes. You're scared, I said quietly, of what? Of being human. Her lips quivered for half a second before she looked down. Go to bed, Ethan. I shook my head. No, I think I finally get it. You don't want a husband. You want an audience? She turned sharply. Watch your tone, I smirked bitterly. Why? You already bought my silence once. Her expression softened unexpectedly. Ethan, what? I didn't mean to hurt you. Yes, you did. You just didn't expect me to bleed this much." She said nothing. The silence between us grew heavier than any argument. Finally, she whispered, "I'm sorry." "For what?" "For everything." I stared at her, searching for sincerity. There was none. Just exhaustion. I grabbed my jacket. "I'm going out." "Where?" "Anywhere that doesn't smell like lies." I walked out before she could answer. The hallway felt longer than usual, colder too. As the door closed behind me, her voice echoed faintly through the glass. "I never wanted it to end like this." Neither did I. But deep down, I realized something. Love doesn't shatter all at once. It cracks slowly, piece by piece, until there's nothing left to hold, and tonight, ours finally broke. The night air smelled like champagne and deceit. I shouldn't have been there. Evelyn told me she was working late, preparing a merger report. But something in my gut wouldn't let me rest, so I went to the Carter Foundation gala. I stood by the entrance, adjusting the borrowed tuxedo. My hands were sweating. Inside, chandeliers glimmered like mockery. Laughter filled the room, hers among them. There she was, Evelyn, my wife, and next to her, Lucas Ford. He leaned close, whispering something that made her laugh. That sound used to belong to me. I couldn't move. My chest tightened, my stomach twisted. "Mr. Reed?" The waiter looked confused. "Would you like a drink?" "No," I said quietly. "I'm sober enough." I watched as Lucas placed a hand on her back, guiding her through the crowd. Her hand brushed his arm. She didn't pull away. I whispered to myself. So that's what working late looks like. When she turned, her eyes caught mine. Just for a second. Her smile vanished. The color drained from her face. I walked toward her. Each step felt heavier than the last. Lucas saw me coming and smirked. "Ethan," Evelyn said, forcing composure. "What are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same thing," I said. "Didn't you have a late meeting?" Her voice tightened. "This is business. With him?" I pointed at Lucas. Lucas chuckled softly. "Relax, Reed. It's just networking." Networking doesn't usually involve touching. Evelyn stepped between us. "You're embarrassing yourself." "No," I said. "You did that for me." She glanced around nervously. "Lower your voice. Why?" "So they don't hear the truth? That the great Evelyn Carter cheats on her husband with her business partner?" Lucas raised his hands mockingly. "Easy there, hero. You're out of your league." "League?" I laughed bitterly. "Right. You mean I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth like you?" "Ethan, stop!" Evelyn snapped. "This isn't the place." "Then tell me where the right place is." "Our home, the office? His penthouse?" Her hand trembled slightly. "You're being cruel." "No," I said softly. "I'm being honest. Something you should try." Lucas smirked. "You should leave before this gets ugly." "It's already ugly," I shot back. "Just not as ugly as what you're doing." Evelyn's jaw tightened. "Enough, I'm leaving." "With him?" She didn't answer. She turned and walked away, Lucas following behind. I stood there, surrounded by fake smiles and whispers. That night, I didn't go home. I drove around aimlessly until the city lights blurred. I replayed her laughter in my head until it burned. When I finally returned, she was there, sitting by the fireplace like nothing happened. "You shouldn't have come there," she said coldly. "You shouldn't have lied." Her eyes flashed. "I told you it was business." "Business doesn't look like that, Evelyn." "I saw you," she stared at the flames. "Then you saw what you wanted to see." "Stop gaslighting me." She looked up, her expression unreadable. "What do you want from me, Ethan?" "The truth." "Fine." She stood, her voice trembling for the first time. "Yes, I was with Lucas. We've been close." The words hit like a blade. "How long?" "Does it matter?" "It matters to me." 6 months, she said quietly. I nodded, my throat dry. "So while I was trying to save us, you were saving him." "Don't make this dramatic." "Dramatic? My wife betrays me and you call it dramatic?" Her voice rose. "I didn't mean for it to happen. You didn't stop it either. I tried." "Not hard enough." She turned away, breathing fast. "You were distant, Ethan. You stopped believing in me." I believed in us. Her silence was worse than shouting. I stepped closer. "Tell me one thing, Evelyn. Did you ever love me? Or was I just a convenient name for your image?" She looked right at me. Her eyes were glossy but cold. You were never enough for me, Ethan. Everything inside me collapsed. Say that again, I whispered. You were never enough. For a long moment, I just stood there, trying to breathe through the weight in my chest. At least now I know the truth. She folded her arms. You wanted honesty. There it is. You know what's funny? I said, my voice trembling. You'll still wake up tomorrow pretending you're happy. But you'll never feel what real love is again, she flinched. Don't guilt me. I'm not. I grabbed my coat. I'm done. Where will you go? Somewhere I don't have to beg to be seen. As I reached the door, she said quietly, You'll regret walking away. I looked back once. No, Evelyn, you'll regret pushing me. I stepped outside. The air was freezing, but my skin burned. I wanted to scream, cry, break something, but all I did was walk. Every step away from her felt like tearing off pieces of myself. But I kept moving, because if I stopped, I'd shatter, and somehow I knew this was just the beginning of my fall. The knock on my door was too polite for the kind of news it carried. When I opened it, a tall man in a charcoal suit stood there, holding a manila envelope. His smile was professional, cold, rehearsed. Mr. Reed. Yeah, I'm Nolan Gray, Mrs. Carter's legal representative. I stared at the envelope. You mean Evelyn, he nodded. If you'd prefer to address her that way, of course. What's that? He extended it toward me. Divorce papers, along with a settlement offer. I didn't move. My hands stayed in my pockets. She couldn't hand them to me herself? She thought it would be easier this way. I laughed under my breath. Easier for who? He didn't answer. His tone stayed calm. You'll find all terms clearly outlined. My client is offering $1 billion in liquid assets. No conditions. $1 billion to erase me. He cleared his throat. To ensure your comfort moving forward. I don't want her money. Nevertheless, it's yours if you sign. I took the envelope slowly, feeling its weight like a coffin lid. Does she know I'll burn it? She said you might. Of course she did. I gestured toward the table. You want to come in or keep pretending this is business? He hesitated before stepping inside. Everything felt too quiet. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. Do I at least get to talk to her? I asked. She's not available right now. Convenient. He opened his briefcase. There's also a non-disclosure clause. You'll refrain from discussing private matters publicly, meaning I can't tell people my wife broke me? His eyes flickered. Meaning she'd prefer privacy, I snorted. She's always preferred control. He pushed the papers toward me. Sign at the bottom of each page. There's a pen included. I looked down at the document. My name beside hers, Ethan Reed and Evelyn Carter, separated by cold black ink. All those promises stripped down to legal lines. I whispered, You ever been in love, Mr. Gray? He blinked. That's not relevant. It is when you're delivering the corpse of a marriage. He adjusted his tie. Sometimes endings are necessary. I met his gaze. Yeah, especially for the person who stops trying first. He didn't respond. Just waited. Lawyers always did. I sat down, uncapped the pen, and signed the first page. My hand didn't shake. Maybe that scared me more than anything. Halfway through, I asked, She really said this was for my own good? He nodded. Her words exactly. I laughed bitterly. She destroys me, then convinces herself it's an act of kindness. She cares about your well-being, Mr. Reed. Then she should have cared before tearing me apart. I finished the last signature and slid the papers back. There, tell her she won. He gathered the documents carefully. If you ever reconsider the funds, the transfer details are attached. I stood. Tell Evelyn she can keep her money. She'll need it to fill the emptiness she's built. He hesitated at the door. I've met many broken men, Mr. Reed. Most stay broken. Don't be one of them. I stared at him. Was that advice or pity? He smiled faintly. Maybe both. When he left, the silence came crashing down. I sat there, staring at the imprint of my signature, my name twisted beside hers like a scar that refused to fade. I didn't cry. I couldn't. I just felt hollow. I picked up my phone, scrolled aimlessly, then stopped at a contact I hadn't dialed in years, Dr. Helen Shaw. Her voice came through soft and warm. Ethan, it's been a while. Yeah, I whispered. I think I need help. Where are you? At home, or what's left of it. Come by tomorrow, she said. Morning works? Sure. You sound tired. I am. Then tonight, just breathe. Tomorrow we'll start putting you back together. I almost laughed. Good luck with that. The next morning, her office smelled like old books and peppermint tea. She smiled when I walked in. Sit, Ethan. I did. She watched me carefully. You've lost weight. Divorce diet. Her lips curved sadly. So it's final? Signed, sealed, delivered. And how do you feel? Like a ghost who still remembers being alive. Do you hate her? I don't know yet. I just know I can't forgive her. Why? Because she killed something I can't resurrect. Dr. Shaw leaned forward. Sometimes losing everything is how you find yourself. I met her eyes. You think there's something left to find? There always is. I rubbed my temples. Then where do I start? By not letting her define what comes next. Her words sank in deeper than I expected. For months, my life revolved around Evelyn, loving her, losing her, drowning in her shadow. Now, for the first time, I realized I didn't owe her my pain anymore. I stood, ready to leave. You know, doctor, maybe you're right. About what? That losing everything isn't the end. It's just the quiet before the rebuild, she smiled. Exactly. Outside, the air felt different, still heavy but breathable. I looked up at the sky and whispered, You took my heart, Evelyn, but not my future. Something inside me shifted then, not healing, not yet, but a spark, and I promised myself next time I wouldn't break, next time I'd rise. The news hit the internet before the ink on the divorce papers dried. Billionaire CEO dumps husband, pays him $1 billion to leave. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Friends, reporters, strangers, everyone wanted a statement. I turned it off and threw it against the wall. I sat in the dark, surrounded by boxes, bills, and silence. The apartment felt smaller every day. When the phone rang again, I let it buzz until the voicemail kicked in. Then I heard her voice, Sophie Blake. Ethan, it's me. Pick up, please. I didn't. 5 minutes later, another call. Same number. I answered this time. Stop calling, I said. I will if you stop drowning, she replied. I sighed. You've been reading headlines too? They're everywhere. But I don't care what they say. Well, they're not wrong. I'm the billionaire's discarded husband. Don't call yourself that. What else am I? She hesitated. Still the guy who once stayed up all night sketching buildings no one believed in. That guy's gone. No. He's buried. There's a difference, I almost smiled. You always talk like a therapist. I'm just someone who remembers you before her. Her words lingered. Why are you calling, Sophie? Because you sound like you've given up. Maybe I have. Then let me remind you why you shouldn't. I didn't answer. She exhaled softly. Meet me tomorrow. Cafe on 5th, noon. Don't think. Just show up. She hung up before I could refuse. The next day, I showed up anyway. She was already there, hair tied back, same kind eyes I remembered. When she saw me, she smiled like nothing in the world was broken. Ethan Reed, she said. Still terrible at hiding pain. I sat down. You always were annoyingly observant. She slid a cup toward me. Black coffee, no sugar. Still your thing? Still bitter. Like my life, she laughed softly. You joke, but you're hurting. Everyone hurts, I muttered. Not everyone lets it define them. I looked away. You don't understand. Try me. She offered me $1 billion to leave. $1 billion, Sophie. Do you know what that means? It means she thought you could be bought. I shook my head. It means I was never enough. Her voice softened. No, it means she didn't deserve you. I didn't know what to say. You once told me architecture was your language, she said. That drawing helped you make sense of chaos. That was a lifetime ago. So start again. I can't. You can. You just don't want to face what happens if you try. I leaned back, exhausted. You make it sound easy. It's not. But sitting in the dark, waiting to disappear isn't living either. Her words hit harder than I expected. She reached into her bag and handed me a small sketchbook. Start with 1 page. I stared at it. You kept this? You gave it to me in college. Said it was your lucky book. I ran my fingers over the worn cover. I can't even remember what lucky feels like. Then create something that reminds you. Something inside me cracked. Not pain this time. Something lighter. Hope, maybe. I flipped to the first blank page. My hand shook as I drew the first line. Then another. Then another. Sophie smiled. There he is! It's not much. It's everything. I looked up at her. Why are you helping me? Because once upon a time, you helped me believe I could write again after I failed. I smiled faintly. You remember that? Every day. The cafe around us blurred into background noise. For the first time in months, I felt something other than anger or emptiness. I don't know where to start, I admitted. Start small, she said. A design, a plan, a dream. Just start. I traced the pencil along the page again. You think I can still make something worth seeing? I don't think, she said softly. I know. Her certainty scared me. But it also fueled me. We talked for hours about everything except Evelyn. I laughed for the first time in what felt like years. When I got home, I stared at the mess around me, the shattered phone, the unopened boxes, the dust. Then I looked at the sketchbook. One line became a building outline. The outline became a vision. I whispered to myself, maybe she freed me without meaning to. I drew until dawn. The city outside came alive again, but for once, so did I. When Sophie texted the next morning, still drawing? I replied, still breathing. She wrote back, good, that's the first step. I smiled and whispered, yeah, the first of many. For the first time since Evelyn left, I didn't feel broken, I felt burning, and I knew I wasn't done yet. 6 months. That's how long it took to scrape my life off the floor and build something that looked like purpose. Every day started the same. Black coffee, silence, and a sketchbook full of anger disguised as art. Then came Daniel Ross. He found me at a co-working space downtown, where I was hunched over blueprints. You're still alive, he said, sliding into the chair across from me. Barely, I muttered. He grinned. Good, the dead can't design. What do you want, Daniel? I want to invest, I frowned. In what? In you, I laughed. That's a terrible investment. He leaned back. Not from where I'm sitting. You've got something simmering. I can see it in your eyes. You mean exhaustion? No, he said. Revenge. I looked up slowly. I'm not out for revenge. Then why do your sketches look like war plans? He wasn't wrong. Every building I drew felt like armor. Every design was a quiet rebellion. I sighed. What are you proposing? A company, yours, mine, ours. You design, I handle the money. We'll call it Reed Designs, I hesitated. You're serious? As a heart attack. I don't have capital. You've got talent. I've got funds. Together, we've got something Evelyn can't buy. Her name stung, but I nodded. Fine, Reed Designs, he smirked. Welcome back to the game, my friend. That night, we started from scratch. No office, no employees, just 2 men and a shared hatred for failure. I worked until my fingers cramped. Daniel handled the legal side. We lived on caffeine and stubbornness. Weeks passed. One night, while sketching another modern complex, Daniel leaned over my shoulder. That's the one, he said. Which one? This. He pointed to the angular tower I'd been revising for days. This screams innovation. It's a concept. It's your comeback. I stared at the lines on the page. She bought my silence, I whispered, but not my comeback. Daniel smiled. Then let's make sure she hears it loud and clear. Our first pitch was a disaster. Investors smiled politely, then dismissed us as too new and too emotional. But the second time, someone listened. An older investor named Mr. Hall studied my sketches for a long time. You designed this? Yes. What inspired you? I hesitated, then said, loss. He nodded slowly. Then you understand structure. Real strength is built from broken things. He signed the deal. Just like that, we were in business. Daniel slapped my back afterward. Told you. All it takes is one believer. I smiled faintly. And a lot of sleepless nights. Sleep is for the satisfied, he said. You're not there yet. He was right. Months blurred together. Blueprints, meetings, deadlines. I didn't think about Evelyn anymore. At least I tried not to. But she haunted me in small ways. The sharp tone in a client's voice. The smell of her perfume in an elevator. The echo of her saying I wasn't enough. One night, as I stared at the city skyline from my office window, Daniel came in holding his phone. You're trending, I turned. For what? He grinned. Reed Designs. Your latest project's all over business media. Investors are calling. Architects are quoting you. Seriously? He tossed me the phone. There it was. Reed Designs, the new force in modern architecture. I let out a slow breath. We did it. No, he said. You did it. I looked at the photo of my design, tall, bold, impossible to ignore. Maybe she'll see it, Daniel smirked. Evelyn? Yeah, she will. And when she does, she'll choke on her billion. I laughed softly. That's not what I want, he raised an eyebrow. No? I just want her to know I survived, Daniel nodded. Then build louder. So I did. Every contract we won, every blueprint I finished, it wasn't revenge anymore. It was resurrection. Still, sometimes at night, I wondered if she knew. If she recognized the name Reed Designs when it flashed across her newsfeed. One evening, Sophie called. I saw your interview, she said. You looked alive, did I? More than before, I smiled. You helped me start this. You started it yourself, she said. I just reminded you who you were. I leaned back in my chair. I think I'm finally remembering. Good, she said softly. Because the world needs that version of you. After we hung up, I sat in the quiet office, the city lights reflecting off the glass. For a long time, I thought Evelyn had buried me. But now I realized she just cleared the ground for something stronger. As the night deepened, I stared at the blueprints on my desk. Each line was a scar turned into art. Each building, a confession. Each success, a quiet message to the woman who thought she'd broken me. You bought my silence, I whispered again, but not my comeback. Somewhere across the city, I imagined her seeing the name Reed Designs on a glowing billboard, and maybe, for just a second, realizing the empire she destroyed had risen again, without her. The call came on a rainy Tuesday. Daniel tossed a file on my desk. You're going to want to see this. I opened it. My stomach dropped. The letterhead read, Carter Industries. I frowned. This has to be a joke. No joke, he said. They want a joint project. Downtown high-rise, multi-billion-dollar plan. They're desperate. I leaned back, letting the irony sink in. Desperate enough to reach out to me? Daniel smirked. Apparently. Rumor says their investors are pulling out. Something about Lucas Ford making bad calls. I stared at the proposal. She's losing everything, he nodded. And now she's crawling back to the man she paid to disappear. I closed the file. Set the meeting. You sure? Yeah, I said quietly. It's time. The conference room was glass and marble, cold, sterile, expensive. Just like I remembered. When I walked in, every conversation stopped. People stared like they'd seen a ghost. Then I saw her. Evelyn. She looked the same, flawless, poised, but there was something different. The sharp confidence in her eyes was cracked, replaced by exhaustion. She stood slowly. Ethan, I met her gaze. Evelyn. For a second, neither of us spoke. The silence between us was heavy enough to crush air. Lucas broke it first. Mr. Reed, glad you could join us, I smirked. Didn't realize you'd still be here, Lucas. Thought you'd moved on to your next victim. He smiled thinly. Still the same sharp tongue. Still the same liar, I said. Evelyn's voice cut through the tension. Enough. We're here for business. Right, I said. Business! My favorite kind of revenge. She flinched slightly. Let's sit. We did. Daniel sat beside me, watching everything with quiet amusement. Evelyn slid a document across the table. Carter Industries would like to collaborate with Reed Designs on the Horizon Tower project. I scanned the pages. You want me to design it? Yes, your name carries momentum. It'll stabilize investor confidence. I looked up. You mean you need me to save your company? Her jaw tightened. If that's how you want to phrase it. I smiled. I like honesty. It's new for you, Lucas leaned forward. This deal benefits both sides. Let's not make it personal, I turned to him. You made it personal the day you destroyed my marriage. His face paled slightly. Evelyn whispered, Ethan, please. No, I said. Let's be transparent for once, Lucas forced a laugh. You're overestimating your importance. And you're underestimating karma. Evelyn slammed her hand on the table. Enough. The room went silent again. Her voice trembled slightly when she continued. We're not here to argue. We need to move forward. I studied her face. The woman who once looked untouchable now looked tired. There were faint shadows under her eyes, the kind that came from sleepless nights. Are you okay? I asked softly. She blinked. Excuse me? You look different. I'm fine, she said quickly. Lucas cleared his throat. If we can return to the numbers, actually, I interrupted, I want to hear it from her. Why this deal? Why me? Evelyn hesitated. Because you're the best. And because we need this to work. I leaned back. You need me to work. Her voice cracked just slightly. Maybe I do. That silence again, sharp and suffocating. Lucas broke it with a scoff. Let's cut the sentiment. We're running out of time, I smirked. You always were impatient. Do you have any idea what's at stake? Yeah, I said. Your job. Evelyn's glare could have sliced through steel. Ethan, enough, I nodded. Fine. Let's talk business. We discussed numbers, timelines, contracts. Every sentence felt like walking through broken glass. At one point, I caught her staring at me, studying my face like it was something she'd forgotten how to read. You've changed, she said quietly during a break. Did I? You're colder. Maybe I learned from the best. Her lips pressed together. That's not fair. Neither was what you did. She sighed, rubbing her temples. You think I haven't paid for it? I think you're still paying. Her silence was answer enough. When the meeting ended, the others left first, leaving just us in the glass room. She walked to the window, arms crossed. Read designs. It's impressive. Thank you. Everyone's talking about it. Investors, media. You've built something powerful, I shrugged. You built me to survive. I just did it without you. She turned slowly, eyes glistening. You hate me, don't you? I met her gaze. I did. Not anymore. Then what do you feel? Pity, I said softly. Because I can see fear in your eyes. Her voice broke. I'm not afraid. Yes, you are, I said. You're scared because for the first time, you need me. She looked away. You won't help us. I didn't say that. She frowned. Then why are you here? To remind you that what you throw away doesn't always stay broken. She exhaled shakily. You've changed. No, I said. I've just risen. I gathered my papers and walked toward the door. Ethan, she called softly. I stopped but didn't turn. I never wanted it to end like this. I smiled faintly. Neither did I, but here we are. Outside, Daniel waited with a grin. That was brutal. Necessary, I said. Are you actually going to take the deal? I looked back through the glass wall where Evelyn stood alone, shoulders trembling slightly. Yeah, I said, but this time I set the terms. It started with a file that wasn't supposed to exist. Daniel dropped it on my desk one evening. Found something weird while reviewing Carter's old archives. I frowned. What is it? Financial reports. 5 years old. Lucas's name all over them. Okay, and? He opened the folder. These signatures, look at yours. I studied the page. My own name stared back, neat and precise. But it wasn't mine. That's not my handwriting, I said quietly. Exactly. He forged it. I felt the blood drain from my face. Why? To frame you. He submitted these fake reports during Carter's acquisition scandal. Made it look like you approved the bad contracts. I clenched my jaw. And Evelyn believed him, Daniel nodded. She must have. It's the only reason she'd turn on you that fast. I sat back, the pieces falling into place. Every cold glance, every accusation, it all led here. She thought I betrayed her company, I whispered. Looks that way. My hands shook. Get me proof. Every file, every signature. I want it airtight, he nodded. Already working on it. 2 days later, I stood outside Carter Industries again, holding the evidence that could burn it all down. Evelyn's assistant tried to stop me. Sir, you can't just walk in. Watch me. I pushed through and found her in her office, staring at her reflection in the glass. Ethan? She said, startled. What are you doing here? Returning the truth, she frowned. What are you talking about? I dropped the folder on her desk. Read. She opened it, flipping through the pages. Her color faded. Where did you get this? Your archives. Daniel traced the access logs. Every file was altered by Lucas Ford. She blinked rapidly. No, that can't be. It can. He forged my name, fabricated losses, and fed you lies. You believed him, she shook her head. Lucas wouldn't. Wouldn't what? Manipulate you? Ruin me? He's been doing it for years. Her voice cracked. Ethan, stop. No, you threw me away because of him. Her hands trembled as she turned another page. I don't understand. Then let me make it simple, I said. You destroyed our marriage based on fake evidence. She looked up, eyes glassy. Why would he do this? Because he never cared about you, Evelyn. He wanted control. Over you, over the company. Her breathing quickened. You're lying. I stepped closer. Then ask him yourself. I didn't expect her to call him immediately, but she did. Lucas walked in 10 minutes later, confident as ever. Evelyn, what's so urgent? He asked, adjusting his cufflinks. She slammed the file in front of him. Explain this. He looked at it, then at me. Ah, so he finally dug it up. Her voice trembled. You forged Ethan's signature? He smiled faintly. You wanted results. I gave you results. By framing my husband? He was in the way. Her eyes widened. You destroyed him. He shrugged. He was weak. I stepped forward. Say that again, Lucas laughed. Oh, don't pretend to be noble now. You're nothing without her name attached to yours. Evelyn's voice rose. You lied to me, Lucas. You made me believe he betrayed me. He leaned closer to her. You were easy to convince. You wanted to believe it. Her face twisted in shock. You're sick, he grinned. You think I wanted you, Evelyn? I wanted you broken. You took credit for everything I built. You built nothing, I said sharply. He turned to me, eyes cold. You should have stayed gone. And you should have stayed loyal, I said. But that word means nothing to snakes. Evelyn's voice cracked. Security! The door burst open, but Lucas raised his hands. Go ahead, arrest me. The damage is already done. He turned to leave, but a new voice stopped him. Not quite. We all looked toward the door. Jacob Lynn, his assistant, stood there holding a flash drive. I backed up everything, Jacob said quietly. Emails, messages, transactions. You ruined good people, Lucas. I won't protect you anymore. Lucas lunged forward, but security pinned him down. Evelyn's eyes filled with tears as Jacob handed her the drive. It's all there, he said. Give it to the press. I recognize the name on the folder. Olivia Hart, a journalist known for exposing corporate fraud. Evelyn whispered, Olivia will publish this? Jacob nodded. Tonight, Lucas roared from the floor. You'll regret this. I looked down at him. I already did once. Evelyn's voice shook. Get him out. As security dragged him away, the room fell silent. She turned to me, tears slipping down her cheeks. Ethan, I didn't know. I know, I said quietly. That's what makes it worse. She covered her mouth, breaking down completely. What have I done? I wanted to hate her. I really did. But watching her collapse under the truth didn't feel like victory. It felt like justice. For years, she believed I was her enemy. Now she finally saw who the real one was. Karma had started its work. The news broke faster than I expected. Carter Industries under investigation for fraud. Lucas Ford arrested. The headlines were everywhere. Screens, papers, phones. His mugshot stared back at me from every corner of the city. Daniel called first. You seeing this? Yeah. Karma came quick. Sometimes it doesn't need help, I said quietly. He laughed. And Evelyn? She'll feel it next. By noon, Carter Industries had lost a quarter of its investors. The stock plummeted, the board panicked, and every business channel played the same footage. Evelyn Carter, leaving her office with cameras flashing, face pale, eyes hollow. I watched from my office window, the skyline reflecting in the glass. Daniel glanced over. You really don't want to call her? No, you sure? She's drowning. She chose her water, I said. He nodded slowly. You've changed, Ethan. Maybe I finally stopped bleeding for people who enjoy the sight of it. That night, I sat alone with a drink, the TV still showing her press conference. She stood at the podium, shaking, her voice trembling. I trusted the wrong people, she said, and I failed the ones who didn't deserve it. Reporters shouted questions. Cameras flashed. She blinked through tears but kept talking. Carter Industries will cooperate fully with the investigation. Effective immediately, I'm stepping down as CEO. I turned off the TV. Daniel texted, You okay? I replied, Finally. 2 days later, she showed up at my office. No makeup, no entourage, no arrogance. Just Evelyn, the woman I used to love, standing in the doorway like a ghost. Ethan, she whispered. I looked up from my desk. You shouldn't be here. I had nowhere else to go. That's not true. You have money, lawyers, PR teams. I have nothing, she said softly. Not anymore. I leaned back in my chair. You look tired. I haven't slept. Guilt does that. She stepped closer. I came to say I'm sorry. I've heard that before. Not like this. Then say it differently. Her eyes filled. I thought I was protecting myself, she said, voice shaking. But I destroyed the only man who ever loved me. The words hit harder than I wanted them to. I stared at her for a long moment. You really believed Lucas over me? I was blind. No, I said. You were proud, she wiped her eyes. Please don't hate me. I don't. She looked surprised. You don't? I did, but hate fades. It turns into something colder, indifference. Her voice cracked. I can live with hate, not indifference. Then you should have thought of that before signing those papers. She stepped closer. Ethan, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just want you to know that I see it now. All of it, what I did, what I lost. I stood closing the distance between us. You didn't just lose me, Evelyn. You lost yourself. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I don't know how to fix it. Some things don't get fixed, I said quietly. They get replaced, she swallowed hard. And me? You're not something I can rebuild. She nodded slowly, like she already knew the answer. You sound peaceful. I am. How? Because for the first time, I don't need your apology to move on. She covered her face, crying silently. I didn't move to comfort her. Not because I didn't care, but because I'd already done enough caring for the both of us. After a while, she whispered, You'll never forgive me, will you? I already did, I said. Just not for you, for me. She looked up, confused. I forgave you so I could breathe again. Her lip trembled. Do you still love me? I hesitated. I love the memory of who you were. Not the woman who replaced her. She nodded, tears dripping onto the floor. I deserve that. You do. Silence stretched between us, heavy and final. She took a step back. I'll go. Good. At the door, she turned once more. You were right, you know. About what? That money doesn't fix everything. I half smiled. You had to lose everything to learn that, she nodded. Goodbye, Ethan. I watched her leave. No guards, no cameras, no crown. Just a woman stripped of power, walking out of the empire she built on pride and lies. When the door closed, I finally exhaled. Daniel appeared a few minutes later. That looked brutal. She needed to fall, I said, and you? I needed to watch, he smiled faintly. Closure? Not yet, I said, but it's close. I walked to the window, looking down at the city lights. Somewhere out there, she was alone, facing the wreckage she caused, and for the first time, I didn't feel anger. I felt peace, because the woman who once had everything now had to live with the truth, that losing me was her real punishment. The courthouse smelled like paper, polish, and endings. I sat in the front row, staring at the mahogany table, my palms flat against it. After everything, betrayal, anger, truth, this was the last chapter. Are you ready? Daniel asked beside me. As I'll ever be. He glanced toward the doors. She's here, I turned. Evelyn stepped in quietly. No guards, no designer suit. Just a simple white dress that hung loose around her shoulders. Her hair was down, untouched by perfection. For the first time, she looked human. Our eyes met, and she froze. I didn't look away. She walked to her seat slowly, her heels echoing like countdowns. The judge entered. The clerk spoke. Words blurred together, legal terms, signatures, property divisions. None of it mattered anymore. I wasn't here for closure from the court. I was here to give myself permission to let go. When they called our names, we both stood. The judge said, This proceeding finalizes the divorce between Evelyn Carter and Ethan Reed. Both parties have reviewed and agreed to the terms? Evelyn's voice cracked. Yes, Your Honor, I nodded. Yes. The judge looked at us briefly, maybe sensing the tension. Very well. It's done. The gavel hit the block, soft but final. It was over, except it didn't feel like victory. Just silence. Afterward, I gathered my things. Evelyn didn't move. She stared at the empty space in front of her like she was trying to remember how we got here. When I turned to leave, her voice stopped me. Ethan. I looked back. What is it? She stood, hesitating before stepping closer. Can we talk? Daniel whispered. You don't owe her that. I know, I said. But I need to hear it. He nodded and stepped out. I waited. She took a breath, her voice trembling. I never imagined it would end like this. Neither did I. Her eyes filled. You hate me. I don't, I said quietly. I just don't feel anything anymore. She flinched like I'd hit her. Don't say that. It's true. I still think about you, she said softly. Every day, I let out a tired laugh. Now you remember? I remember everything, she whispered. The nights you stayed up with me before board meetings.
The way you believed in me when no one else did.
I pushed you away because I thought I had to. You didn't have to, I said. You chose to. She nodded slowly, tears spilling over. I know. The courtroom was empty now. Just us and the ghosts of what we used to be. I thought success would make me safe, she said. I thought love was weakness. But the truth is, losing you made me weak. I stayed silent. She stepped closer. Please say something. What do you want me to say? I asked. That I forgive you? That I want to start over? Her voice broke. No, just that you don't hate me. I don't hate you, I said. But I can't love you either. Not anymore. Her breath hitched. I deserve that. Yeah, I said softly. You do? She reached for my hand, hesitant. When our fingers touched, it felt like touching the memory of a life that wasn't mine anymore. Her grip tightened. Ethan, don't go. I looked at her. You already let me go once. Her tears fell freely now. Please, just stay for a minute. I don't want this to be the last time I see you, I hesitated. It's already the last time. She shook her head. You're lying. I'm not, I said quietly. I'm just done living in pain. Then take the money, she whispered desperately. Take everything. Just don't walk away, I almost laughed. You still think it's about money? Her lip trembled. It's all I have left to give. You already gave me something better, I said. What? The lesson. She looked confused. What lesson? That love without respect is just debt, I said softly. And I've paid mine in full. Her knees buckled slightly and she sank into the nearest chair, sobbing. I'm sorry, Ethan. I swear, if I could undo everything, I would, I know. I'd give up the company. The money, everything, if it meant you'd look at me the way you used to. I walked closer, kneeling so we were eye to eye. You don't need to give up anything. You already lost the only thing that mattered. Her voice broke. You. I nodded. For a moment, I wanted to comfort her, to tell her it was okay. But it wasn't. This was the cost of every lie, every doubt, every betrayal. I stood. Goodbye, Evelyn. She reached for my hand again, but I pulled away gently. She whispered, Please, don't go. I looked down at her, tears streaking her face, makeup smeared, heart laid bare. You offered me $1 billion to leave, I said quietly, but walking away was the richest thing I ever did. Her sob echoed as I turned toward the door. Outside, the sunlight hit me like a new beginning. The air felt cleaner, lighter. Daniel waited by the car. You done? Yeah, I said. Finally, he smiled faintly. How do you feel? Free. We drove off in silence. The city passed by, same skyline, same chaos, but everything looked different. For the first time in years, I wasn't looking back. No anger. No bitterness. Just peace. And as I watched the sun dip behind the buildings I helped design, I whispered to myself, she bought my silence once. But this freedom she can never afford.